Hello, Blake Rudis here with the F64 Academy, and today I want to talk about video, and more importantly, how to turn a still image, a single still image, into a moving animated video. So we're going to take this normal single still image and turn it into this animated video. And as we jump into this, watch the new intro to the F64 Academy videos and pay attention to the movement in the images. Let's go. Before I begin animating this image in Plotograph Pro, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. If you like this, why not subscribe? Because I guarantee you're gonna like the other stuff if you like this. I do tutorials all the time to advance your photography skills. So, Plotograph Pro, what is it? Well, it's actually an online-based software that allows you to animate your images. And anytime something groundbreaking and innovative happens in the photography industry with something that we've never seen before, I immediately say to myself, okay, that's great, but how do we do this in Photoshop? So I will admit that I spent a good 3 or 4 nights, my nighttime is my experiment time, I spent about 3 or 4 nights trying to recreate the Plotograph animation effect in Photoshop, and it was a disaster. I'll show you that process at the end of this. So if you'd like to see the whole review and the tutorial on this, go ahead and go to F64 Academy and click on this link and that'll take you there. If you're already on F64 Academy, then you're in the right place, okay? So Plotograph Pro, it animates a photograph, a single image. So this image of Half Dome in Yosemite, we can actually take these clouds and make them move. But before we do that, let's talk about the interface. So you'll see on the left-hand side, these are basically, you go over here, you can see all your different projects, your different uploads. You can save this, you can export it. Here you have your selection tool. Here's your automated masking tool. Here's your more intricate painted masking tool. Here is your animation points. And these are the things that make this thing work. And then here is your feathering for your masks after you've created a mask. Now, if we go over here to the right-hand side, you'll see your layers. You can actually visibly see your masks as they appear, your points as they appear, your lines, and so on and so forth. But the big kicker here, and this is one that is overlooked when you first jump in here, is what's over here on the right-hand side with these animation properties, and we'll go into that as we look at Plotograph Pro, okay? And then right here you have your zoom if you want to zoom in and zoom out, and you have 2 features down here for image properties and typing. But this is a constantly evolving piece of software. It's all online, which has its benefits, so it can be updated as it sees fit. Another benefit of this being online is that graphic rendering when it comes to videos can be very daunting on a machine that cannot handle graphic rendering. So the beauty of this is you do it all online here. It does all the rendering for you, and then you just download it. You don't have to worry about tying up different parts of your computer to render video, because I do a lot of video rendering in my business and in my tutorials, and man, it can kill a computer and slow everything down. So it's good that this is online. But let's get into how we actually animate this. The first thing we need to do is make a mask. So I'm going to go down here to the automated mask tool, and I'm going to add mask. And adding the mask, this is just going to get everything kind of started. So, and you don't have to be really careful with this. You can just draw a really quick mask on here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll just go ahead and mask out all of the stuff that's down here, because the only thing we want to move is the stuff in the sky. So we'll mask that out, and then we'll go over to the automated mask tool and go to subtract mask, and then we'll just draw a line right here, right above that line. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and then boom, see what it comes up with. So the blue line is actually telling you the areas that it masked, the red line is stuff that is out, and the green is the area that's actually going to get the effects, okay? So we actually might need to add a little bit of masking here if we need to. We can just go to add mask and then just start painting in on this area. Now, one thing I do here is I don't get too technical with my mask at first, because I can always go in and really get fine-tuned editing with that mask, because you'll see that as we start working on this, that sometimes it's good to just go in and start the motion and press play and see what happens, and then mask out the things that you need to mask out. So now I'm going to add some points, and these are your animation points. So the first thing I want to show you is just adding one animation point. We'll add the animation point here, and then you take your little line here, your selection tool, and you can make a line. You can drag this line up and down, but if you press and hold shift, it'll actually make sure that it moves in 45-degree angles. So we'll just hit that and move it over. So what you need to know about this line is it's actually tied to the animation properties here and the duration of which these are going to take place. So if you have a very long line like that, we'll go ahead and press play and watch what happens. You can actually track it and see how it's moving when we do the preview. Now this preview is not a high quality preview, so don't worry about that, but this preview shows us a lot. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll add one point and just drag it across to see what I need to fix. Because you can actually just grab a bunch of points and put them all over the image, but sometimes that doesn't really help, okay? Sometimes all you actually need with this is one point and one line movement. But you see how, even though we have a mask, you see how the whole image is moving over? It's actually grabbing and pulling the whole image and moving it to the right. So there's a couple things that we can do about that. So I'll go ahead and press pause. One of the things that you can do with these points, these animation points, is that they're not just for movement, okay? You can actually use them as anchors. So I'll hit here, hit here, hit here, hit here, and just that is one of those areas that we're having trouble with. And then I'll hit here, 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 and just drag some animation points along these areas so that it doesn't drag that in the preview. And we'll go all the way around half dome like this and just keep going, make some animation points that are anchor points. So now we'll go ahead and press play and watch what happens. So now you can see that it's not dragging our mountaintops to the right. Okay, so we've got a good baseline to start off with here. We'll go ahead and press pause. Now what I want to show you is if we go into those properties and we move the duration from 5 down to, let's say, 1, and now we'll press play and watch what happens. So you can see over the course of 1 second, that's a lot of fast movement, fast-paced movement. So you actually dictate the speed of these points, not just by the line that you drag, but also by the duration of those points. So we'll press pause and we can start adding some more points. I found the sweet spot to be usually between 2.5 and 1.5, depending on what it is that is moving. If it's a waterfall or something like that, it's actually kind of cool if you go with the duration of like 1.5, but with skies, 2.5, 3 is usually a pretty good point. So we have this line movement up here that is now moving in that one direction. Let's go ahead and add another point. So we'll add a point here and here and here. So now I'll hit the selection tool and I can actually control click. So if I click here and then press control and click here and press control and click here, that allows me to grab these points, all these points, without having to select each one of them individually because I want them all to be the same speed. So we'll make them about that much movement, and then we might grab another point down here and make that much movement, okay? And now we'll press play and watch what happens. So now you can see the variable speed over 2.5 seconds and how the shorter the line, the less movement that happens in that area, which can be a really effective trick to control a lot of movement in a very small area and really kind of bring out some of those movement that's happening in the image. Well, you can see with this line over here being so big, it's actually really hurting this area of our photograph because these clouds are moving a little too fast. One thing that's actually really helpful is if you go in here and you go into your animation properties and you go to animator and you click mesh and you press play. We can see those tracks in the preview because we have this on, and we'll press play. And what I like about this view is it actually shows you how the movement is happening in your image based off of the control points that are in that image. So you can see that as you add more control points, they start to organically work together. See how these anchor points are here? They are all tied in some way, shape, or form to the rest of the image. So if we add some more anchor points to this area, you'll see that these clouds won't move quite as fast. So we'll go ahead and pause that, add an anchor point here, and we'll just add a little bit of slight movement there. And let's do two little ones, one right here also, and then we'll also do another one, and then we'll press play. And now that movement seems a little bit more organic, and it's not like those clouds are being pushed and forced as much by this big streak that's happening here. That big streak up here looks great for this area, but not so much down here. So we can do that again too. We can just come down here, grab another anchor point, put one here, maybe put one here and put one here for these clouds that we want to have very small motion and small movement. And we'll go ahead and press play. So now you can see that those clouds are now anchored, but also have movement. So not only are these points movement points, but they're also also anchor points so that the whole thing kind of moves and grows organically as you build it. So you can get really intricate with these movements and these motions, but I'm not going to go too far into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this project out, and when I'm ready, I can go to export as, and then I can export it at 1920 pixels. I can basically pick what animation loop I want, and I can choose whether I want this to be an MP4, a GIF, MOV file, or a zip file. I typically choose MP4s because that's what I usually edit in my Camtasia software. And now I can choose the frame rate to be 60 frames per second. The animation loop, this is how many times it's going to play. So if you are at 60 frames per second in an MP4 with 10 animation loops at about 2 seconds of motion, then you're going to look at about a 20-second video, and we'll just go ahead and export that out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to my project, and I'm going to go into some of the other projects that I've done. So I'll go to my projects and show you this Hawaii project. This is a really cool one. So click on the Hawaii project. You can see all of the different motion and movement that went into this image. I've got the clouds moving at varying speeds up here. I've got the water moving at various speeds down here. And I've got a bunch of anchor points around all the things that I do not want to move at all in the image. And when we press play on this one, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Lots of movement, lots of different things happening here. The water actually looks like it's going down its path. This water receding back into the ocean. This water sort of coming around and mixing and moving around in the ocean. And that beautiful sky movement up there. So like I said, I tried to mimic this and do this in Photoshop, and it did not work out very well for me. Basically what I tried to do in Photoshop to emulate this, because I thought I could figure it out, was I tried to duplicate my original layer and then go into the liquefy tool and very slowly liquefy different areas of the image, and then duplicate that and then redo the liquefy over and over and over again, and then move it into a timeline and make it an animated GIF. And the difference is that what you're seeing here is that in these properties over here, if you look at these properties, you look at the type of blending that it's going to do, whether it's going to blend or be circular or edge to edge. And this is the difference between an animated GIF in Photoshop and what happens here on Plotograph Pro. So if we choose this edge to edge one or the circular one, let's press circular and press play. You'll see that the movement is very much like that of an animated GIF, where it moves, stops when it's done, goes back to the beginning. But the beauty of this is the blend option one. When you go into that blend mode and everything just sort of seamlessly blends as it transitions. So when it comes down to it, there are certain things that happen in this industry on a daily basis, and people are constantly innovating on things that we do in post-processing and things that we do as we edit images. And this is nothing less than genius. Being able to take a still image and animate it in such a way that it moves in all these different directions and blends within itself, it makes these beautiful images. So if you want to see my whole review with my pros and cons and my thoughts on this, go ahead and head on over to f64academy.com. Again, my name is Blake Rudis. If you like this, please share it, comment on it, send it to a friend, because this innovation is absolutely awesome, and what the people are doing over at Plotograph Pro just blows me away. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.